So I'm recording, and then I'm going to share. Hang on 1 second. Live on Facebook. Okay, this is where it takes a little bit of time. Have you done any live on Facebook like this?
Not yet.
It's kind of a hit or miss for me, how much I do it right.
Well, I've had friends who do it, and the quality isn't great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
Yeah. So it says preparing live streaming preview right now. And it'll tell me in a second where it's going. Okay. I have it all set up to do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to override it. Okay, we're going to call it Finding Your Voice.
Should I take my earbuds out? Should I just... Okay.
If you can hear that better that way, that's perfect. Okay. Setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. Watching over here. And I've done it before where I get this little beginning stuff like, are we on? I don't know if we're on. We are on right now though, Barbara.
Yay!
I know. I am so excited to see you. I've seen you. I mean, I've watched you from a distance recently. So I feel like I am in touch with you because all of this weird stuff that we get a chance to do when we're on live video and when we're not even on live video, it feels real in a way. So I am so excited to introduce my peeps to you. This is my friend, Barbara McAfee. And Barbara and I met, it feels like a couple years ago, but it was, I don't know, 10? Was it 10?
I think it was in the last decade. Maybe.
I know. Well, wasn't it? I think
I don't know.
Time
Probably.
flies. And so I never really know about time. And we met at Women's Song. And that was a festival in the middle of North Dakota a few years ago. And Barbara was the guest, the keynote, and Barbara was singing her keynote. And I thought, what? You sang such amazing stuff. I was just taken in immediately. And then I realized that you were from Minneapolis. So you're like right here and you've become part of my life now. And Barbara sings her keynotes, you guys. And she also has a whole bunch of corporate experience behind her. But right now, what I love is that she helps people find their voices, whether they're speakers or singers, corporate executives, I would say. Is that true too, Barbara?
Yeah, pretty much. Rabbis, chaplains, nurses, coaches, all kind of, anybody who uses their voice, that I help them find it.
Oh, that's so awesome. So I just wanted you all to meet my friend, Barbara, and I wanted to just reconnect with you and have you share well, we're in a weird place right now. We are just in a weird place. You know, everything is up in the air. And I think music is a thing that brings us together.
Yep.
And so if you are watching me at all, some of you might know that I tried to do a round on a Facebook page, which doesn't work. I've tried. I tried to do Light and Darkness, which is one of your rounds. And so we had a makeshift way to do that because I really think music is important right now. But you taught that to me. You taught so much. Barbara was in Fargo 4 different times for some keynotes. I'm going to stop talking because I want you to talk. I want you to share what you're observing, what you're seeing in Minnesota. Has your life been up in the air because of this or not? Tell me about you.
Well, it is a surreal time. And I know I'm aware every day that there are so many people struggling. And I just send blessings any way I can to all my friends and non-friends. I mean, all the people at the front lines, all the people who are anxious, who are locked in with people who don't, I mean, there's just so much distress and grief and uncertainty, anxiety. And the way we most often can deal with these things is by being together. And we can't be together. And so I'm just the consequence of that. I just talked to my friend Warren, who turned 100 last Friday, and
Did he have to turn 100 by himself?
he was in Arizona with family members for a while, but then he came back to this assisted living place, and he had to, I think he was with his family on his birthday, but even so, I mean, now he's locked in.
Yeah.
And to like make it to 100 and to have to like not be able to leave your room. I don't know. It's just, so I'm just so aware of all of that. And I'm also aware of what a blessing it is to be alive. I live right on the Mississippi River near, right near downtown Minneapolis. And I get myself outside every single day. Yeah. I still can do that. My body works, thank heaven. And I can still leave. I can get outside every day and ride my bike and walk and greet my neighbors, and people are much more friendly.
Are they?
You know, we're all, yeah. The people.
Okay, here's what I'm noticing in Fargo. People are, maybe this is just my experience, I haven't been out much, but people are really guarded.
Yeah.
They're really afraid. I picked up some food a couple of places that, you know, you can do pick up food. And I just kind of passed by somebody and I said, isn't this weird? And I kind of looked at her and she looked down. So I think we're at this like shell shock stage. So, but I've heard from other people in bigger cities who are out and doing things like you, that people are very much more like we're connected.
There's just a lot more eye contact, which is like super intimate here in the Midwest.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Yeah. And there's a lot more good morning. We're still moving a lot. You know, we're getting really smart about, you know, that's too close. So, you know, you see people coming and you go like, this way, that way, you know, and people can get really grumpy if the social distancing stuff the protocols aren't followed. But I think we've been at it for a while, and we've had, I have to say, incredibly beautiful leadership here in Minnesota. I am so grateful for Governor Walz and all the Commissioner Malcolm and all these people who have, you know, just been, it's just, you know, I've been a sort of student of leadership for a long time, and it is just so heartening to like, oh, this is what grounded, practical, humble, emotionally intelligent leadership looks like. Collaboration. I'm just so grateful. And I just wish it for every time I have a blessing right now down Jody, I just wish it for everyone.
Well, here we are, and we have the opportunity to touch everybody in this weird kind of world of now technology, which is the only way we can connect right now. And I don't know about you, but I'm connecting with a lot of people right now that are worldwide that I probably didn't think about. Now, you told me earlier that you've been doing a lot of your work online for quite a while. So you work with people, coaching people all over.
Yes, I have. I was just on a coaching call with online with a client from San Diego. I'm working with people in Washington State, DC, Atlanta, I mean, all over. And then just folks here in town too. So I'm doing individual one-on-one work. And then I have been running little 4-week online full voice fundamentals to just sort of in a group of 8 or 9 people, so they can go into finding more flexibility and choice in how they express themselves in the world.
So can you tell me a little bit more about that? How they express themselves in the world? How does that work? What kind of people hire you? And what do
yeah, it's all over the place. I'm working with people who do a lot of presentations, and they may not feel like they're a voice. One of the people in one of my classes right now has a business. She's a doctor of midwifery, and she has a home birth practice and supervises a bunch of home birth midwives and doulas and other people. And she is doing more public speaking because she's been all over the media in DC where she lives, because all these women who we're going to have a baby at the hospital are moving home. So her business is exploding, you know, and they're hiring more midwives, and it's another sort of like, whoa, didn't see that coming, another consequence of this time. But she's doing a lot more public speaking and wants to work with how you speak to a woman who's giving birth is different than how you speak to a room of, you know, professionals or whatever, right? And then I've worked with people who are feel stuck somehow, you know, like they just got locked into a part of their voice and a part of their psyche that is too small for them, and that they may have something that they want to say or do in the world, and their voice just isn't flexible and alive enough to do that. And or see, the voice and the person, they're all the same thing. So you can't change your voice without having the rest of you go along for the ride. So and your voice is all very connected with your gifts. And I think we all arrive with gifts, tucked in our pockets of our souls. And our job while we're here is to find a way to express those gifts and to call the gifts of others. And the voice is such a piece of that. That's the door. That is the road from the internal world to the external world. So all kind of people, chaplains and nurses, everybody.
So it's not necessarily singing that you're teaching them.
We use singing, but it's, and I will work with people who want to sing better because, why not? But I use singing sometimes, very simple little ditties, as a way to sort of exercise the voice more, and get more familiar with these different sounds and qualities in the voice. Singing is a great way to do that.
So we've got some comments. Jill says she's an ice skating coach.
No.
No, that's what she is. Jill.
Oh, okay.
Yes, she is.
It's like, no, I do everything but that. Yeah.
So she is an ice skating
I understand. Okay.
She said, that's me right there. Ice skating coaches. So
yes.
who knew? People who, I would have never thought about that. I mean, I've known this about you for a long time, but I had forgotten that what you do is help anybody find their voice, no matter what they do, because it's the be behind the do.
Correct.
I love the way you said it. It takes the inside into the world, and our gifts need to be expressed, and expression is through our voices.
Correct. A big piece of it. And whether it's in speaking or writing, it's all the same. Voice and vocation and advocacy and avocation all share a common Latin root. So
not everybody. Look at that.
Nino.
Voc. Is it voc?
Vocare. Vocare.
There's the first nugget. No, there's the 10th nugget already, but you've learned a lot, right? Already, everybody. So you guys who are watching, anybody, Billiette, Lindsay, Jill, Lori, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and I will watch. And Barbara's here for you to answer any of your questions if you have anything. Barbara, who's your this is a terrible question. Who's your favorite person to work with? Not a specific, but a favorite type of person to work with. Do you have one?
Oh, I have to say, I rarely work with anyone that I don't kind of fall a little bit in love with, because I just think human beings are astonishing. And I think voices are full of mystery. And often people find their way to me and they'll say, can you help me with this? And it's like, oh, I got no idea. Like, people show up if they've got like some trauma that's kind of lodged in their throat. And most of us have been traumatized by not being able to say what we need to say when we need to say it, or somebody telling us to take it down a notch, or you're a little too much, or, fill in the freaking blank. But I really trust the work. So I say, I have no idea, but I trust this work. And I trust whatever brought us together, right? The same thing that brought you and me together, Jody. It's like, there's this great pattern and we're part of it. But I really particularly enjoy the people who say, I really don't know what I'm doing here, but I know I'm supposed to be here.
Oh, wow. So
and that's really fun.
How do they find you? Like
all kind of ways. I have a number of people who, I have a therapist who refers people, her colleagues and or clients to me. People find me. I just did another podcast this morning with a guy who found me through my book. A number of people find me through my book.
Tell us about your book.
Yes, it's called Full Voice, The Art and Practice of Vocal Presence. And it's a guide to my approach to opening up the full range and color in the voice in service to your life and your work, so that how you say and what you say is coherent. And I use an approach that I developed over years called the 5 Elements Framework. And it uses different elements to open up and exaggerate different qualities of the voice, so that when you go to talk, you have earth and you have fire and you have water and you have metal. That's good for your ice skating coach.
Yes, Jill, there you go. Metal.
To project across the arena. If you go hey, with your air voice, your skater's going to be like, gone.
Yep.
So that's my book, and it's available everywhere. I did an audio version of it. I got to read it, which is super fun.
Yeah.
And there's a 18-minute TEDx talk about it that I did at Gustavus. It's like an 18-minute version of the book.
And the 18-minute of the version of the book at Gustavus, it's fun because something happens with the lights in the middle, right?
The set started to fall apart.
So you got to watch it just to see how you recover. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
And I've experienced this. I've been in your workshops. A few workshops, actually. I went to Minneapolis for a coach's workshop with you.
That's right.
I had an opportunity to feel what Barbara's trying to describe right now, which you can't really get in video, at least not the way I experienced it, but it's earth. I love the way you do earth.
Yeah.
Get really stupid and do earth.
Yeah. And I like to use the characters to exaggerate and help people remember the sound.
Right.
So we make you look like we get stupid and playful, partly because we just need more of that, but it also helps you like access that sound later.
Yes.
So
right.
Keep going.
Well, and I loved the example I remember about, I think it was metal, was across a restaurant.
Yeah. There's a woman. There's a woman I heard talking in a restaurant when the person in front of me couldn't hear a thing I was saying. And all the way across the restaurant, I heard this woman talking, and I heard every single detail about her daughter hitting the garage with her car. And that was an epiphany for me, because I had at the time earth, fire, water, and air. And I thought, wait a minute, there's another thing here, and it's not any of those. And I called it metal, because it's bright and sharp and shiny and cuts through everything.
Right.
So,
and you told us that there's a time when you want to use all of those. I mean, you don't want to get stuck in just one, because there is a time and place for air.
Yes.
So it feels like not at a restaurant, or maybe at a restaurant when you're having a romantic dinner with someone. It might
depends on the restaurant. If it's quiet, you can be as romantic as you want, and your sweetheart will be just going like, what? Yeah. What'd you say?
Yes. Isn't that funny? Jill, who's following us over here, she's saying, giving us a lot of comments, and she said she went to Augsburg. She's actually a skating coach in Denver right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's really fun.
Yeah.
Jill, are you learning a lot here from Barbara about what you can use? She said she uses her voice already as a skating coach. So that's
I bet.
Yeah.
You got to be like encouraging, and then the voice you use when, like, if one of your skaters is upset, or one of your employees, or whatever, your friends or whatever, if somebody's having a really hard time, it probably won't go well if you go like, "Well, that really stinks. Boy, that's terrible. Wow." That's the fire voice. Mm-hmm. Most of us organically go to like, "Oh, honey, that sounds so difficult," or "I have really bad news."
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bad news that's having to be shared right now.
Right.
Sorry that our conference is canceled, or I'm sorry you've been laid off. And it's hard enough to get hard news without having it delivered badly.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good point. So this is an obvious question. You work with men and women?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've learned so much about how sort of the dominant culture hurts all of us. Mm. If as women, we have like such a narrow, we can't win. Mm. If we're too forceful, we're a bitch. Mm-hmm. And if we're too gentle, we're a wimp. Mm-hmm. And there's kind of like, where do you even operate inside that? And I work a lot with women leaders to help them become more flexible. Mm. But I often say, I wish I didn't have to teach women how to navigate the patriarchy. And I kind of wish I didn't have to teach men to navigate it either, because the way that men are acculturated is to be dead. To be like a good man in this culture, your face doesn't move, your body doesn't move, you don't feel anything. If you move your hips, God forbid. Wow. If you gesture, if your face is even alive, then all the homophobia shows up, and you're gay and you can be killed.
Wow. Right?
So, and I remember where I was when I like that just came over me. I was working with a group of engineers, architectural engineers. And I remember just like, suddenly I got it in my body, what that's like, what a prison that is. I know what it's like to be a woman, because I'm one of those.
Yeah.
but my heart just shattered. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. That's so hard. You can't, like, it's gotten a little better with the newer generations. I
Yeah.
think there's a little more space
Sure.
around how to express yourself, in either gender or none, right?
Yeah. I've been having conversations recently about leadership and what I think is going to happen in this new place we find ourselves after things shake out. There's no normal, in my opinion. It's not going to be normal. We don't want to be normal because normal hasn't been working. And so people are calling this the new normal. And where we are right now in this messy middle is not normal. Don't get used to it because it's not going to be like this. But on the other side of whatever we find ourselves right now, it feels to me like the description you've just made about the men or the people who haven't been able to find their voice, that's what we need going forward in our leadership. We're going to need those people who are confident enough in expressing themselves as leaders, not in a top-down hierarchy, but in a way that can bring people together. I know you and I have a mutual friendship. You know this person in person, but I don't. Peter Block. And Peter Block is one of my favorite authors. In fact, I'd like to see if I can talk to him. I'm making my list of people I want to talk to, and he'll be on my list. But I talked to a guy named Robert Quinn, who's an author of several leadership books, and he teaches at the University of Michigan. And he talked about leadership being less about a top-down hierarchy and more about lighting up. And when a person lights up, maybe to your point, finds their voice and can then express themselves, that's a light going on. And what he's talking about is finding the first follower, not being the leader that commands, but doing what you do, and then the first follower will find you, and then together you find the second follower. And as we can learn to express ourselves, use our voices to get those gifts out into the world the way you've described it, I see that being a whole new way of leading. Maybe more confidently in a softer way. And
I had my leadership clock cleaned a couple of years ago. I did a lot of work. I did organizational development coaching for 12 years, kind of much to my surprise. I haven't planned on pretty much my whole career, but I watched and studied, what made a good leader, what made for good leadership and all that stuff. And sometimes I just get a little tired of the conversation, because it feels like it's so much about being special and charismatic, and it's like, yeah, whatever. And that's just me. But I do a lot of community song leading because I know that people need to sing together. And that is one of the griefs right now, that we just cannot be in the same room and sing together. And these platforms are not set up for that, as you discovered. It's just like, it's a dumpster fire to try to make sound together on these platforms. But we've been figuring it out, some way to do it. But I've been leading community singing for decades, oral tradition, no performance, no skill required, all that. And I just started doing this experiment, often with really simple songs with a group of relative strangers, and I would just get a song going, and then I would just sit down and close my eyes. I would abdicate this. Right?
Yes.
And every single time, 40, 50, 60, 100 people would decide together when the song was over, without me telling them so, or saying, okay, now one more time. And when I think about that the lights showing up, to me, that was a confrontation about, well, then what's my job as a leader? I know I'm holding a possibility. I know I'm teaching the song. I know I know that we can do this. I tried it with 300 people in a big room in Winnipeg, and they did it twice. And I was like, what is going on? So I thought I would do a TEDx about it. I did another TED Talk in Bend with about 1,000 people. And I felt 1,000 people decide when a song was over.
Wow.
And so I have not gotten over that, Jody, because I think if that is our human capacity, that a room full of relative strangers, no training, no rehearsal, can simultaneously, like, it reminds me of like the murmuration of the swallows or fish, schools of fish. We have that. in us. But as leaders, how do we provide just enough so that innate wisdom and clarity can come through?
And you experienced it, so you know it's possible.
And we all did. That's the thing. You know, people say, oh, we're all connected and we're all one. And it's like, I really believe that in my bones. And my brain just goes like, yeah, whatever. You know, there's this part of my neocortex that just goes, yeah, whatever.
Right.
But in that situation, those 1,000 people, we had a shared, undeniable, visceral experience of our connection. And every room I've done that in, with 100 clergy, I was working with Parker Palmer and 100 clergy, and all of us had this experience. And it's not like you say, well, you had it, but I didn't. It's like, no, actually the song stopped.
I remember, Barbara, being in that space with you. Maybe not, there weren't 1,000, but I remember in one of the many times I was with you, we had a circle and you had people just sing a note, whatever the note was. And at some point we all ended up on the same pitch. And you said something about it being universal, one verse, universe, you know, one song. And if you think about it like that, and you really allow yourself to get into that space that you've described, think about that, everybody. What could happen in this COVID space we find ourselves right now? What is possible? I don't know how, but what is possible if we get into that space where you know when to end whatever it is you're ending, you know when to be kind because it's inside of you. You know. And what are we not allowing to come out, maybe? And I love this reminder. I'm watching the comments. Billiette, I am so excited to hear what you're going to do on church with whatever church is on Sunday. So Billiette had said, we have 40 comments, actually. I've got to start watching these more.
Okay, you can do that.
So can you tell us more about the 5 elements? Lisa met Wally, who is a friend of yours.
Oh, hi, Lisa.
Lisa, she said she's grateful for the 2 of us. So we'll come back to that in a second. Billiette was talking about singing at church when church is going to be online. So she's wondering how she can actually project and do what she needs to do. But I'm looking for that comment again. Billiette, I apologize. I'm not doing very well at driving because I'm so into this conversation. So I'll come back to that in a second. But do you want to, Sherry says, I want to be locked down. Oh, okay, she wants to be locked down with this other thing I put on earlier. Music. I'm posting a lot of music and people are really attracted to music right now. There's just something about hearing what we're talking about vocally in song. And that maybe is a segue into, I'd love you to share your new song, which apparently just came to you recently. It must have.
Yeah. I write most of my talks and I wrote a lot of my book and a lot of my music on the hoof when I'm moving, walking or biking.
How do you remember it? How do you remember it?
I just repeat the heck out of it.
Oh.
Just over and over and over and over. For the TED, I would bring I'd bring my phone. Like when I would get a segment that I thought, oh, I like that. Then I could record it in the phone. But for the songs, I just sing them over and over and over and over and over again. And then I go buzzing by people and they're like, what? crazy singing lady on the bike there on the old Schwinn.
You do it when you're singing? I mean, when you're biking?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, funny.
Yeah. Why not? Public singing.
That's awesome.
Makes people so nervous, public singing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We could talk about that too. I mean,
yeah.
Oh my goodness. So just before I have you sing, I want to share, I have all of your CDs.
You do? Do you even have the new one?
I have the oldest one. Is that the first?
That's the ancient.
The latest one I have, I think.
There are songs.
Nope, I don't have that one yet.
Well, I'll send it to you.
I have Women Rise. I have No One Else Can Sing Your Song. I have Coming Home. I have the Morning Star Singers. I have Great Big Love, which, by the way, I love this one. I love all of them. But there is a lot of amazingness that can come, like you said, out of singing. And when we were together, when you were in Fargo a few times, you taught some African music that was so cool that none of us knew. And at some point, all of us learned it. And at some point, all of us sang it together and we sang it, people had parts and it was harmony and there was so much to learn. And so people tell me because I'm a singer, I sing in a chorus. They tell me I can't sing. Oh, I wish I could sing.
All the time.
And it's
All
not
the
true.
time.
Everybody
No.
can sing.
Yeah. When I was researching the book, I did discover that there are about 2% of the population that are tone deaf.
Yeah, there is such a thing.
There is such a thing. And one of the theories is that at a certain critical moment of their brain development, they had severe ear infections. So they couldn't hear. And, little kids' brains are just like
Right.
busy building all the time. But even people who have like sketchy pitch, like, don't quit your day job and go on the road. When I've worked with them, there's just a few places that people can work with someone on that. That's not in a choir that's trying to get ready for a performance and somebody's like trying to make it sound good. Just to have like a friendly person listening and saying, oh, what happens if you sing a little more softly? Or you feel how that works, all that. So yeah, I hear a lot of that. I hear a lot of that. Oh, you don't want to hear me sing. It'll make your ears fall off. It's like, oh yeah, whatever.
Get over it.
It's like, no, you're not that special. Well, you are, but not for that reason.
I love it. I love it. So I'm not going to keep everybody in suspense any longer. Would you share your latest song with us?
I sure will. And I just want to I'm so tickled. There's been so many strange, bizarre things that have happened. They're going to play a couple verses of this on TPT's Almanac on Friday night, April 10th.
Oh, wow.
They're going to use it to close their COVID-19 special from 8 to 8:30 Central. So,
oh my goodness.
How about that? Yeah, it just started spreading around in the world, and that's one of the things that happened.
Let's spread this virus instead.
Yes, it's like, I like this kind of virus. So here it is. It's called Chapped Hands in an Uncertain Future. I got chapped hands in an uncertain future, spending lots of time alone, thinking about all the people I love and talking to them on the phone. Well, I'm planting seeds and making stew, grateful for the things I still can do. For instance, singing this song for you. Stay home, stay safe, stay clean. I got chapped hands and walks by the river. My house has never been so clean. Making up ways to make a little money while I'm living in quarantine. I'm writing cards and sending prayers to the ones on the front lines taking care. The least we can do for the ones out there. Stay home, stay safe, stay clean. Birds have returned. My garden's showing green. Trees in buds and fish in the river carry on despite the humans' crazy scene. I got chapped hands and a growing conviction. This is gonna be a long haul. I don't think we're going back to normal. Fact, we're not going back at all. As things fall down, may we arise. Grow more courageous, kind and wise, and face our common future with open eyes. Stay whole, stay sane, stay clear, stay human, and stay home, stay safe, stay clean. Inside and out, you know just what I mean. Ba-da-boom.
I love the ba-boom. Oh, that's so brilliant. And you got that on a walk?
Yeah, on a bunch of them.
Oh.
Yeah, I would do a verse. I'd go out for a bike ride or a walk for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'd come home with the next verse. And I thought it was done. And then the little middle part, the little bridge came. It was like, oh, nope, there's more. So that was the last bit.
Oh, yeah, Lori, my friend says I'm listening and learning while I'm making masks right now.
Oh, thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you for doing that. Yeah, I've been sending cards. I've been thinking about all the people I know who are doing frontline work. A lot of my friends are in healthcare, so I've been sending cards to my doctor and nurse and people who are doing that. And then I'm out, and then all the like city workers are out there working, and all the people keeping the lights on, and the truckers and the grocery people. And I mean, we're doing healthcare a lot and grocery workers, but then I just heard a lot about the truckers who can't get a hot meal and a shower anymore. And they're the ones that are keeping the toilet paper
That's
on
right.
the shelf.
That's right. That's right. So when you see a trucker pulling up near a drive-in, yes, go give them some food.
Yeah, pay their bills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. You know, I could talk to you forever.
Okay.
And we will. At some, we'll just. I know, I love you so much.
I love you too, girly.
Thank you so, so, so much for taking time and for sharing your gifts with the world, and
My honor.
for being you.
Same.
Man, love you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My
And
pleasure.
we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Even if we aren't in touch, right? We'll be in touch when we can get back in touch too.
Sounds great.
Okay.
As my dear departed mom used to say, consider yourself hugged.
Oh, love her too. Oh, yay. Okay. Thank you. Love you.
Okay. Pleasure.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.